Hey guys, Victor here again, coming at you with another retro deck profile for the September 2011 format. Today's focus is going to be on Rock Stun, or as you may also know it by, Koa'ki Meiru Stun, which is pretty much a deck that attempts to use anti-meta in order to prevent the opponent from playing the game. So, with that out of the way, let's jump straight into the deck profile. So, starting off with the monsters, we're going to be playing 3 Koa'ki Meiru Wall, 3 Koa'ki Meiru Sandman, and 3 Koa'ki Meiru Guardian. What can I say? They're all 1900 beat sticks that accomplish pretty much the same thing. Koa'ki Meiru Guardian negates monster effects, Koa'ki Meiru Sandman negates trap effects, and Koa'ki Meiru Wall negates spell effects. They're really good. They have a lot of synergy with each other, especially because these are the only Koa'ki Meirus that during the end phase you reveal a rock monster, and all 3 of them are rock monsters. So as long as you have 2 of them, you'll pretty much always be able to keep one on the board. And then after that, we're going to be playing 2 Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. This is a stun / anti-meta deck, so Fossil Dyna pretty much has like a lot of synergy with it, as it does with most stun decks, but it has extra synergy in the fact that it's also a rock type monster. So if you're able to draw one of these with one of your Koa'ki Meirus, you can pretty much satisfy the condition to keep them on the field. Next, it wouldn't be a stun deck without Thunder King rai-oh, so we're going to be playing 2 Thunder King rai-oh. It's also an additional 1900 beat stick that prevents your opponent from adding, and you contribute it to stop any possible inherent summons like BLS or, just cards of that nature. It's a really good card that should pretty much be played in every single stun deck. Next, we're going to be playing 2 Maxis because it's Maxi. This deck pretty much never special summons. So if your opponent has a Maxi, it's worthless against you, but against an opponent, being able to draw cards is pretty much invaluable. Then next, we're going to be playing 1 Glow Bulb. This card is pretty much going to be the only time that you're going to be able to special summon. And I honestly don't know how to feel about it. I think it's really cool in what it can do, since every single monster in here is pretty much an earth monster, which means if you get Glow Bulb, you can make cards like Naturia Beast, which on its own is enough to win a game half the time. But it also has like a lot of other uses, such as making like Trishula or just other rank 5s to help deal with some potential situations that may come up. But you almost never really want to synchro summon, if I'm being honest. You'd much rather just keep your Koa'kis on the field and just beat over your opponent using them. But it's nice to have the option in case because it does come up eventually. And then for our final monster, we're going to be playing 1 Neospatian Grand Mole. This one's actually pretty much like a staple for anti-meta decks at this time, as it's able to attack and bounce back any potential synchros like Stardust Dragon or deal with annoying cards like Spirit Reaper. And then it also has extra synergy with this deck because much like Fossil Dyna, it's also a rock. So if you have this in your hand, you can reveal it to keep your Koa'kis on the field. And with that, that's the monster lineup, and now we can move on to the spell portion of the deck. The spell lineup for this deck is pretty small, and we're pretty much only going to be playing staples. So with that, we're going to start off with 3 Pot of Duality, which is an insta staple, even in today's modern format, for pretty much any type of stun deck that you may be playing. Not much to say. The consistency that it offers this deck is pretty much invaluable in helping you win the game. And then we're also going to be playing 2 MSTs. The cool thing about this deck is that there's like a lot of wiggle room that you can play with and potential techs. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm playing double MST. As if you've seen any of my previous deck profiles, I'm pretty much like a staunch believer in only 1 MST, but the room and the flexibility that this deck offers you is more than enough to be able to fit in 2. And then we're also going to be playing the 1 Heavy Storm. This card's really good in this type of deck because it's able to catch your opponent off guard fairly easily, as a lot of the time they suspect that because you're a stun trap heavy deck, that you won't be playing heavy, and just off of plays like that, you're going to be able to set like your heavy plus like another card, and then they'll be able to set 2 to 3 to match yours because they're going to be feeling a little bit more confident, and then you flip heavy on your turn, and then you just punish them immediately. It's just a really cool card that pretty much helps forward your game state. And then we're also going to be playing the other power 1-ofs like Dark Hole, Reborn, and Book of Moon. They're just good 1-of staples to be able to play. And with that, we can now move on to the trap portion of the deck. So when it comes to the traps, we're going to start off with Triple Skill Drain. Normally, you don't actually see this card that often in this type of deck, but I feel like it's really good despite the fact that it somewhat conflicts with cards like Fossil Dyna or Grand Mole and Thunder King to an extent, mainly because of the fact that every single one of your Koa'ki Meirus tributes themselves for cost, which means that they get around skill drain and they don't really care. So what your opponent basically has to deal with is 1900 beat sticks while under skill drain, which is very difficult for a lot of decks. And it also has I guess, a little bit of synergy with Thunder King rai-oh, because even though it does prevent you from stopping your opponents from searching, you can still tribute it to negate the special summons of monsters. So this type of card in this deck is honestly really good, I feel. And then we're going to be playing 2 Dark Bribes. This is a stun deck, and you want to be able to protect all your monsters in back row at all times. So we're going to be playing the 2 Dark Bribe for extra protection. The extra draw doesn't really matter all too much, because you're always going to be stopping a key card that would ruin your game plan otherwise. Next, we're going to be playing 2 Deep Prisons. This is probably the most cuttable card, if I'm being honest, mainly because a majority of the cards in your deck are 1900 beat sticks, so your opponent's going to have trouble running them over to begin with. If you want, you could easily cut this and put in 2 Bottomless, 2 Compulse, or just anything else that you may want to play instead, but I've opted for 2-dimensional prisons instead. And then, of course, we're going to be playing the Solemn Brigade, so we're going to have the 2 Solemn Warnings and the 1 Solemn Judgment. Good cards are good. And then for the rest of the 1-ofs, we're going to be playing the 1 Mirror Force, the 1 Torrential, the 1 Starlight Road, and the 1 Trap Dust Chute. And with that, that brings our main deck count to 40, and we can finally move on to the extra deck portion of the deck. Now, I'm going to be real with you, we don't really use our extra deck, but there are a couple of key cards that you should be playing at all times, just in case a situation comes up. And the most important ones are easily going to be number 39 Utopia, because you have a bunch of level 4s, and sometimes you will run into something that you can't beat over, like a Chaos Sorcerer, and Utopia will be perfect out that. And then it also pairs really well with cards like Skill Drain, because if it has no materials, if you have Skill Drain up, its effect to destroy itself when its attack does not happen, so it's just a 2500 vanilla basically at that point. And yeah, after that, we're going to be playing the 1 Stardust Dragon. We're playing Starlight Road, so of course we're going to be playing Stardust Dragon. It's pretty much a staple in every deck that plays Starlight Road or not. But we're also going to be playing the 1 of Trishula, because we play a lot of level 4s, and the 1 Glow Bulb, which is a level 1, means that we're going to pretty much have instant access to this if we want it. And then lastly, we're going to have the aforementioned the Chariot Beast. Typically, if you want to make something with this, I'd use Glow Bulb plus Koa'ki Meiru Wall, since that's the one that negates spell cards. But you could use the other ones too if you want. It's better, in my opinion, if you use the one that negates spells to make something that's stronger that also negates spells. And for the rest, just fill it in with staples, you know, Brio, Scrap Dragon, whatever. You never know when a situation might come up with Monster Reborn where you can take an opponent's tuner and then use it for your own advantage. But with that, that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!